a sinner, left my lover crying on the dance floor. I'm a sinner, I'm a sinner.
Welcome back, everyone, to Slow Damage. The next day, I woke up just before noon. Dragging my bad leg, I went into the bathroom and got ready to leave. Today I had an appointment at the Takanoichi medical office. Taku had warned me not to bully Asakura, but I was dying to see what the guy's reaction would be like if a roost regular showed up. And since my ankle was sprained, it wasn't unreasonable that I would want to go back for a checkup. Of course, truth be told, I had full access to a doctor right here at home. I took the elevator down to the ground floor, and when I walked out, I found Ray standing there. Apparently, he was waiting for the elevator at the exact moment. He blinked at me in surprise.
嫌だとは今様子を見に行こうと思ってたのよ。どこか行くの？
ちょっと
どこ？
鷹の口。
I tried to be vague about my destination, but he kept pressing me and I caved. Apparently, he was really hung up on the idea that my injury was his fault. I got the sense he would probably want to tag along.
付き添うわ。ちょうどもうすぐ昼休みだし、今日はそこまで患者さんも多くないし、タクに声かけてくる。
別に俺一人でも。
ダメ。またいつどこで怪我するか分かったもんじゃないんだから。
You have no faith in me. His tone was uncharacteristically firm.
ちょっとここで待ってて。すぐ戻るから。
分かった。
As Ray's footsteps hastily retreated to the back of the clinic, I let out a sigh. And so Ray borrowed Taku's company car to drive me to the the medical office. I just can't say it today. Ray had both a driver's license and a motorcycle license, and he decided taking the car would be the best for my ankle. As for me, I wasn't licensed in anything. I didn't need to be. If I ever wanted to go somewhere far, I took the bus or water taxi. The hospital was only a 10-minute drive from Murasai Clinic. I could see the tall, impressive buildings just ahead. We parked the car on the street, then entered the premises on foot. Last time I was here, I hadn't seen the big sign out front that read Takanoichi Medical Office, Internal Medicine, Surgery, and Pediatrics. Ray helped me walk in through the front entrance, and after we were all checked in, he sat me down in a chair in the waiting room. The room was full of other patients waiting for their turn. The walls were dotted with stickers of cartoon characters and lined with shelves of books, picture books and mangas. There were even a Christmas tree decorated with angel dolls and plush toys. Unsurprisingly, for a facility with a pediatric ward, there were a lot of families here. Unsurprisingly. Yeah, the parents don't want to use the pediatric ward. What the fuck? Ray and I didn't really fit in.
子供が多いのね。この辺は小児科がないからかしら。
Ray whispered in my ear. Apparently, he was thinking the same. As I sat there feeling extremely out of place, I overheard some of the patients talking. Parents.
そうなのよ。他の病院にも行ってみたんだけど、うちの子は朝倉先生がいいって。ね、朝倉先生が好きなんでしょ？うん、好き。
さっきもそうよね。朝倉先生がいいんでしょ？朝倉先生がいい。
朝倉先生は診察も丁寧だし、よく話を聞いてくれるものね。
先生きっと子供好きなのよ。子供もそういうのがわかるんでしょうね。親としてはおとなしく診察を受けてくれて助かるわ。
I'm slightly worried what this guy's thing is.
本当にそうよね。うちの子歯医者が大嫌いで。
Apparently, Asakura was highly regarded. About an hour later, they finally called my name. Ray offered to come with me to the exam room, but naturally I declined. Then I rose to my feet and slowly walked down the hall, dragging my leg. I do like the little stickers. A nurse helped me into the exam room where I spotted a bee-speckled man sitting at a desk. He was wearing a freshly starched lab coat and looking at my charts on his monitor. The room's interior was carefully decorated to appeal to children. If anything, it was the self-serious doctor who didn't seem to belong here. As instructed by the nurse, I took my left shoe off and sat on the exam table. Only then did Asakura finally turn away from the charts to look at me. His aloof eyes met mine. Sure enough, it was the man I met at Roost. I recognized him straight away. But his expression didn't shift at all. Maybe he didn't remember me? I purposely curled my lips in a provocative sneer and gazed deep into his eyes.
昨日はどう？
昨日？
Asakura furrowed his brow.
ルーストにいただろ。
His sharp, calculating eyes widened slightly. He was clearly flustered. But a moment later, he cleared his throat and composed himself.
人違いではないかな。おそらく初対面だと思うので。
Evidently, he was planning to play dumb. Not a surprise there, since we weren't alone in the room.
夜間救急にいらしたそうですね。足の方はどうですか？見せてください。
He crouched down and touched my ankle.
まだ腫れていますが、安静にしていれば引いていくと思います。1週間後くらいにまた来てください。一応、痛みがひどい時のための薬を出しておきましょう。
He spoke in a clinical turn, then he straightened up, returned to his computer, and typed something onto my chart. I hopped off the table, put my shoe back on, all while scrutinizing his face and profile. His repeated attempts to stay composed had me curious, but maybe he'd come back to Roost sometime? Better not to push too hard in the beginning.
それと、
As I headed for the door, he called after me.
あの店には気分転換で飲みに行くだけだ。変わった店だからな。
I heard him muttering and turned back to find him glaring at me. Ah, so this is the real you.
そう。
I smiled back faintly, his eyes lit up in anger. Just then, the door suddenly opened and a young boy ran in. He made a beeline straight for Asakura, his arms outstretched. Asakura looked surprised for a moment, then smiled and gently grasped the boy by the shoulders.
おや、どうしたんだい、まさきくん。
こらダメでしょマー君。
A young woman, presumably his mother, rushed into the room and scooped him up into her arms.
もうごめんなさい。少し目を離した隙に。
いえ、大丈夫ですよ。でも、転んで怪我をしたら危ないので、しっかり見ていてあげてくださいね。
はい、本当にすみません。
The mother bowed apologetically to both of us. Asakura watched them with an amused smile. This was nothing like the barely civil attitude he had shown me. Right before the woman left the room, however, she stopped and turned back.
ああ、先生。明日のチャリティーイベント、よろしくお願いしますね。
任せてください。
After the mother and son left the room, the smile faded from Asakura's face. His stoic mask returned, and with a glance in my direction, he turned back to his desk.
次の患者さんが待っていますので、申し訳ありませんが、そろそろ。
His dramatic transformation had piqued my interest, but I decided to back down for now. Back in the waiting room, I reunited with Ray and sat down beside him, now to pay my bill. The room was filled with even more families than when I left. Children's voices echoed through the air.
ねえ、
Ray began awkwardly.
私たち場違いじゃない？この病院ほとんど小児科って感じよね。
まあそうだな。
なんだか幼稚園にいるみたい。別に子供が苦手なわけじゃないんだけど、そわそわしちゃう。早くお会計呼ばれないかしら。
He squirmed in his chair as he looked at me.
そういえば次はいつ来ればいいって？
1週間後。
そっか。腫れと痛みさえ引けば問題ないんでしょ？そうしたらあとはタクに見てもらう方が早いわよね。ここまでわざわざ来るより。
ああ。
He was right, of course. But I had a different reason to come here, to see Asakura and gauge his reaction. Now that I'd met him, I could tell that he had some deep underlining reason to go to roost. While he was a level-headed guy, he wasn't the cunning type. The more he tried to hide the truth, the more likely he was to spill it. He was a piñata full of candy, and I wanted to see what was inside. 20 minutes later, my name was finally called. Ray went up and handled the payment for me, and then we left the building. Ray had lunch plans with a friend, so after we parked back at the clinic, he got out and walked off. As for me, I went up to my apartment to rest on the sofa. All that hobbling around had worn me out. The lunchtime rolled around and Taku came up.
よ、足の方はどうだ？
Hurts like a bitch.
鷹の口医院に行ってきた。
ああ、レイから聞いてる。
He walked over and crouched down to examine my injured leg. I was smoking at the time, so I turned my head and exhaled the smoke away from him.
朝倉先生はいたのか？
予約を取ったからな。
そこまでするほど興味を持ったのか？
I raised my eyebrow playfully.
ご想像にお任せで。
たく、お前の趣味に付き合わせるのはモデルの志願者だけにしとけよ。で、昼食なんだが歩けるか？
ああ。
柳川コーヒー店に行こうかと思うんだが、どうだ？
As long as I walked slowly, I wouldn't have any trouble. I nodded and together we headed out. We took the elevator down to the ground floor and exited the building. This was my second excursion of the day, except this time the sun was unpleasantly high in the sky. I'm blind! Squinting against the harsh sunlight, I headed down the bright lit street. The walk to Yanagawa Cafe took a little longer than usual thanks to my bad leg. There we ordered 2 honey toast meals off the lunch menu. I wonder how that tastes. That looks good.
朝倉先生はどうだった？
Taku looked at me as he cut up his toast and popped a forkful into his mouth.
堅物って感じだった。
You know what it reminds me of is French toast. Maybe it is the same thing.
だろ？
I haven't made that in years. His lips curled into a half smile.
小児科もやってるんだよな。
子供が好きみたいだな、あの先生。
It was an offhanded comment, but Taku's expression darkened and he lowered, please no, game, please God, no. Don't go to the dark I think you're going to.
朝倉先生のところへは
Oh, thank
ま
God.
た行くのか？
ああ。
I nodded and fixed him with an inquiring look. He took a sip of his coffee, then looked back at me, his expression conflicted.
だいぶ前の話になるんだが、ある噂を聞いてな。それから朝倉先生にはいい印象がない。
噂？
Taku looked away as if uncertain where to begin.
なんていうか、その少々過ぎた子供好きとでも言うかな。それも見ていて目に余るくらいの。実際のところはわからんが。
So heads up, guys, if this guy doesn't end up stabbed. I don't know how much longer the game's gonna go for. We'll see. Hopefully it'll be one of those where, you know, ropes happen. And stabbing. If it's true and not just a rumor. In other words, he was a pedophile. Ah. There goes the money on YouTube. This ain't going up on other sites. If there was rumors going around about it, then there must have been some incident in the past that sparked it.
何かあったのか？
朝倉先生が前にいた病院で良くない噂が立ったらしい。特に主婦の間で騒がれたみたいでな。それでその病院を辞めて新興民へ来たようだ。まあほら、この町に腰を落ち着ける人間なんて大体訳ありが多いからな。
自分自身も含めて。
I meant it as a joke, of course, he scoffed.
当然だ。お前みたいなまともじゃない患者の面倒ずっと見てるんだぞ。
I laughed and started cutting up my untouched honey toast.
今は朝倉に対する母親たちの評判悪くないみたいだけどな。
Everyone I ever heard talking about him had nothing but nice things to say.
噂は所詮噂だ。勘違いされて広まっただけなのかもしれん。医者としての腕は確かだしな。
Taku lifted his mug to his lips. In a blink, his plate was empty. I took a bite of the crust and wondered how he always managed to eat so fast.
そういえば明日はイベントがあるからクリニックは休みだ。
イベント？
新興味制度ってあるだろ。あそこでチャリティーイベントがあるんだ。ま、お前は怪我してるからな。無理に出る必要はないぞ。
A charity event? Come to think of it, the woman who came into the exam room mentioned something along those lines. And Asakura said he would be there.
行くよ。
Taku blinked at me in surprise.
どうした？何か悪いもんでも食べたのか？
俺が行きたがっちゃいけないのか？
お前、そういうキャラじゃないだろ。
たまにはそういう気分になることもあるんだよ。
In truth, my motives lay elsewhere, but he didn't need to know that. I ate about half of my honey toast and drank my cold coffee. It's gonna get dark. After lunch, Taku went straight back to the clinic. I could have gone with him, but instead I opted to wander around town. Aren't you hurt? As I walked, I lit a cigarette and took a drag. Okay.
Oh.
Hey, Toa.
Yo.
Were you sleeping? Just a quick nap. Guess I was tired. Any patients waiting? Doesn't look like it. Maybe I'll get a little more rest. You probably need it.
そうだな。
They say sugar is the best pick-me-up when you're feeling drained. Come to think of it, did you see the limited-time Christmas menu they had at Nagawa Cafe? The one with lots of cakes? Yeah, I bet Ray would love it. When I saw it, I thought to myself, you know, I might actually eat cake if it's made by Yanagawa. What do you think? Guess you'll have to try it and find out.
Oh.
Alright then, I'm ready to give it a shot. You better come with me. That way you can take over if I tap out. I don't want to be negative to him.
Positive. 別に。
Sure, why not? Good. You eat sweets every now and then, don't ya? I might need your help. Just kidding. Though the mental image is hilarious.
よし。
Got an art piece. Imagine a full-grown middle-aged man going to town on some desserts.
へえ。
Do you want to learn to like it? Well, I mean, it's best not to be too picky about food.
よし。
Oops, I gotta get back to work. That's a load off my mind, thanks. No problem. We were just there, but we can go back and look around. This is Yagawa Cafe. Okay.
とはじゃねえか。
Oh! Oh, hey, it's Toa. What's up with your leg? Getting in the fight?
ま
Something like that. What about you? Not often you come here of all places. Well, every now and then I like to wander around my own town on my own. I mean, you don't need a calendar to know it's Christmas. It's everywhere you look, from the decorations to the music. This time of year, I always have a lot on my mind.
あ、へえ。
Oh yeah, reminiscing about an old flame or something? Nothing like that, though I do have some special memories. Fucking... God, Windows 11 sucks.
なあ、
Isn't Christmas the day our Lord was born? The memories I have are the polar opposite of the festival, I'll say that. I'll bet you you have some too, don't you? Things you'd rather keep to yourself? If we get Euphoria up, we might...
ネガティブに。いや、
Nope.
そうか。
Really? Well, then I was wrong. Alright, what else if we give the other one?
ポジティブに。全くないな。
Never felt the need to hide anything to begin with. Wrong voice. Sounds like you alright. Okay, you like that one a bit more.
よし。
Anyway, I better get going. Stay out of trouble, you hear? Right. Okay, so we got Emato Park. Hagatoa.
Huh.
A Pizza Hut logo. Igarashi, hey.
ジョス
Yo, Toa-san. Wait, what happened to you? You're hurt. It's a long story. Are you taking a break or something? Yeah, something like that. I had a ramen for lunch and now I'm just killing time.
あの
Hey, so you might already know this, but the other day I overheard something in the office. They said Sakaki-san and Tuno-san weren't always at each other's throats. They used to be good friends.
そうだな。
So I've heard. I don't know the details, but it was back when Kaga-san was around, and then the big fight happened and the two of them had a falling out. Honestly, I don't really get Tono-san. You know, he's smart and competent, but he never shows his hand, if you know what I mean.
どうすか
He's scary and unpredictable. What do you think about him, Toa-san?
Positive. ないな。
I don't trust him at all. You don't either? Yeah, I had a feeling. I get so tense whenever he's around. He freaks me out. I still got some time. I think I'm gonna stay here a little longer. What about you? Just passing through. See ya.
了解っす
Roger that. See you again sometime. Feel better. Okay. So let's go with Kawo. This is Kawo Street, the place that sees most of the traffic in District D. While District B has the most famous casinos and resorts, District D has its fair share of tourist attractions too. The countless neon signs serve as a hallmark of this lively district. Set one foot in an alley, however, and you'll walk headfirst into the most dangerous and violent area in all of Shinkomu. If you want to survive in this part of town, you'll need to keep your wits about you. As I was walking down Kawawa Street, I spotted Mayu on the side of the road talking to a woman in a flashy dress. It sounded like they were speaking a different language.
あトワだ
You gotta... Hyo-hyun, see you later. Gotta go, Hyo-hyun, see you later. The woman replied in Chinese, then walked off into the red light district.
平気
What happened, Toa? What happened, Toa? You hurt your leg?
ああ、
It's a long story. You need to be more careful. You're always zoning out. Was that a friend of yours?
そうよ。
Yeah, we grew up in the same town. When she needs to vent, I listen. Her job is very difficult with lots of problems.
トワ
Say, Toa, are you free now? Man comes out of a fucking Devil May Cry game.
Positive. ないな。
Free? Nah. Do you need something?
うん。
I was gonna watch Magnet Sensei. I wanted to invite you. The hell is that? It's my favorite anime film. I'm going to see it again next week, so you can come join me.
まあ、
Well, maybe if I feel like it. That means no, doesn't it? Oh well, I'll invite you again sometime. I like manga. Oh, Kodotaru is calling. I better get back.
それじゃね。
Alright, so that went well. Can I talk to him again? I want to go home and watch more anime. Fair enough, dude. Roost. This is Roost. This back alley bar can be found at the far end of Kawo Street. It's where I usually go for a drink. At a glance, it looks like an ordinary building and there's no sign out front, so the average person wouldn't realize it's a bar at all. The interior is furnished with artwork and decorations that the manager imports from overseas, affording the place its own special vibe. Because of that, people who come here all have eccentric tastes. The regulars in particular are a bunch of quirky oddballs. This place never sees much activity, but personally I enjoy the quiet, which is why I chose it as my favorite haunt. Okay. This is Kao Street's red light district. Day and night you see lots of people walking by. The street is packed full of seedy brothels on both sides, not to mention the nightclubs and bars. They'll have girls standing out front in broad daylight, exhorting the passerby with seductive invitations. Most of the establishments on the street are operated by Takasato Gumi. It's harder to find a place the Yakuza hasn't touched. Most offer services that mainland Japan would consider illegal. Plenty of tourists come to Shinkumi for that very reason. This is the main axis of the city's sex tourism.
え
Well, if it isn't Toa.
あ
Oh, it's you.
どうかした
Like, what are you doing here? I mean, what about your leg? You're not pushing yourself, are you? I'm fine. But seriously, though, what's up? You're not spying on a shady business, are you? And if I am? Liar, liar, pants on fire. There's no way you would do that. You're just wandering around and looking for hookups like usual, aren't you? I've got your number, mister.
あ、ね
Well, that reminds me. Say, can I ask you, like, a pretty serious question? Are you really only interested in hooking up? You've never had a serious relationship or like that?
positive に。いや、
Nope.
え。
You sound pretty sure about that. I guess you like zero intention of ever settling down with someone, huh? Correct. You aren't interested in romance?
ないな。
I never sought it out.
教えてよ。
Really? But that's how you really feel?
そうか。
Got a new one. Why would I lie to you? Good point, I guess. You always stick to your guns, don't you?
行くわね。
Well, I should probably get going. I'm in the middle of shopping. Sorry for holding you up. Alright. It's almost everywhere. This is Takanoichi Medical Office. Like our clinic, it's privately run building, but it has a lot of rooms for patients. Supposedly has all the latest technology too. Most of the patients who come here are families with kids. The waiting room is filled with women and children, so it feels more like a pediatrician's office. Of all the many hospitals in Shinkumi, this one might be the most popular. The fuck? You again? Yeah. Do you know Shinkumi has a lot of hospitals? Almost as many hospitals as we have convenience stores, maybe. I think it's because of all the violence. I see an ambulance drive by at least once a day. But even then, there's still a lot. Shinkumi has a lot of kiddie clubs, aka pedophile rings. They're all illegal, of course. They rely on the children labor of those born to single mothers or impoverished homes. I hear some of these parents neglect or even sell their kids. Believe it or not, a lot of the customers look like ordinary folk. You can't judge a book by its cover.
ダメ
The Takatsato Gumi controls the Shinkumi police, so they won't do anything. For years, the mainland has been trying to come in for a crackdown, but it hasn't been going well for them. Right now, they've been searching for a way to get their foot in the door, I think. There's too many people in Shinkumi who end up dead or missing. These numbers would be unthinkable back on the mainland. Lots of folks freeze to death in the winter, so the alleys turn into graveyards. But that's normal here, isn't it? Unbelievable. Did you know?
ないな
Did you know they say the goddess of Winsby has vanished without a trace? As of 2 or 3 weeks ago. Oh, and Euphoria published a new painting, though I haven't seen it yet. I wonder what it looks like. Weirdo.
うーん
Yeah, he won't talk to us. This is gonna get weird, isn't it?
あんたか。
It's you.
どうも。
You seem well. What about you? Got yourself hurt? That's what happens when you don't put any effort into your lifestyle. Can't argue with that.
気をつけな。
Be more careful from now on. By the way, have you been watching TV lately? No? Shinkumi has been negotiating more with the mainland, trying to decide whether to merge with it or maintain its status quo.
へえ。
Interesting. Originally, Shinkumi was designated as a special administrative region of Japan, but there's a lot of opposition to it. Some want the city to rejoin mainland Japan, and others want it to maintain the independence. Those two groups have been at war for years. Supposedly, the mainland's worried about the crime or what have you, but I reckon they're more interested in what little profit is left to be made here.
どうなんだい。
What do you think?
Positive. いいんじゃないか。
I like my life in Shinkumi. It shouldn't change. Everybody feels that way once they get acclimated. All I can say is this: when it comes to the men in charge, both here and on the mainland,
呆れたよ。
no matter how they sugarcoat their bullshit, they're all the same.
なるほど。
Amen to that.
それで
So what are you buying? You're always buying candy cigarettes, aren't you? Plus this and this, it'll be 400 yen.
これは
Keep the change. You give me a 100,000 yen bill and tell me to keep the change? Fine then. I'm happy to accept. Be well.
どうも。
Come back soon. Let's end the exploration. Exploration over. Why don't we leave that for... Nah. Oh, nah, you know what? Let's go a little longer. I dragged my legs back to my apartment where I sank onto the sofa. As I listened to the drone of the TV, I thought about Asakura. While I was curious about what I'd learned from Taku, it was still too early to tell how this was going to pan out. That night I arrived at Roost. I found Kotaru, Mayu, and Iji sitting at a table.
お、と
あれ、足引きずってませんか？怪我した？
We just talked! They called out to me as I entered. I walked over and sat down in an empty chair at their table. Ray was working the night naturally. The worrywart flew straight over.
とは、足の調子は？
まあま
無理はしないでよ。注文どうする？
あ任せる。
わかったわ。
He nodded and headed off to the counter. Generally speaking, I was willing to drink anything as long as it was alcoholic, but the manager knew my preferences, so I usually just let him choose for me. I reached into my coat pocket, grabbed my smokes and lighter, and set them on the table.
で、なんだよその足。喧嘩か？
襲われた。
誰に？どこで？
ガキを追いかけ回す大人げない連中に。
うわ、災難でしたね。巻き込まれちゃったんですね。
Eddie had taken out his toolkit and was tinkering with a small black box on the table.
なんだそれ？
あ、これですか。プラスチック爆弾です。最新式の。
We need to get this man away from anything.
今ちょっと流行ってるやつなんで作ってみたんですけど、気に入らないところがあって調整しようかなと。
He smiled brightly as he continued his explanation.
バカ、やめろってさっきも言っただろ。爆発したらどうすんだよ。
しないですよ。そんなヘマしません。何しろ爆弾愛好家ですから。
オタクだろ。
愛好家です。それにこの程度の爆弾なら全然大した威力じゃないですよ。
どの程度なわけよ。
多分テーブルとかカウンターが吹っ飛ぶくらいです。
よくわかんないけど十分やばいね。ていうかまだまだ取りだめしてるアニメあるのに今死にたくないよ。
たく、お前もお前で理由がどうしようもねえな。これだからオタクはよ。
Kotaru folded his arms and scoffed. But Mayu paid him no mind. He kept dipping his lollipop into his booze and putting it in his mouth. As I was smoking a cigarette, Ray came over and placed my drink on the table.
これ、マスターのおごりだって。お見舞い代わりに。
I looked over to the counter. The manager nodded at me, smiling, and I raised my glass in a toast to him.
にしてもよ、トアは怪我しても楽だよな。なんだって病院で働いてんだから。
ああ、そうね。毎日見てもらえるね。
あれ、でもトワさん、確か鷹の口院に救急搬送されたんですよね。
Edgy stopped tinkering and looked up at me in surprise. Considering how often he boasted about his intel gathering skills, I didn't bother asking how he knew.
じゃあ逆にめんどくさいね。わざわざ違う病院に通うの。
そういえば鷹の口院って。
Edgy paused, tilting his head in contemplation.
どうした？
たまにこの店に鷹の口院の先生が来てたなって思って。
そうなの？
よく知ってるな。
At this, he donned a smug smirk.
そりゃもう情報なら任せてください。ってトワさんも知ってたんですか？
ああ、朝倉だろ。
そうですそうです。ちょっとお堅い感じの。
へえ、そうなの。
Mayu seemed mildly intrigued. He pulled his lollipop out of his mouth.
だいたいカウンターの端っこに座ってますけど、ビシッとしたスーツ姿で来るから目立つんですよ。そんな格好の人、この店にはあんまり来ないじゃないですか。それで気になって調べてみたら鷹の口院の先生だって分かってびっくりしたんですよね。
医者がこんな店に来るってことはよ、なんか危ない趣味持ってんじゃねえの？
どうも前に働いていた病院で子供絡みの事件を起こしたみたいで。
何やらかした？
昔は朝倉先生って小児科医だったらしいんですけど、当時の患者だった男の子をみたいな。
ああ、そういう趣味か。
結局証拠らしい証拠はなかったみたいですけどね。噂に尾ひれがつきまくるってことよくあるじゃないですか。それで評判が悪くなって新興見へ引っ越してきたみたいですよ。
訳ありで外から新興見へ来る人なんて山のようにいるよ。
まあ実際子供たちは朝倉先生にすごく懐くらしいです。子供に好かれすぎてあらぬ誤解を招いたのか、それとも手なずけるのがうまいだけなのかは分かりませんけど。
Frowning, Kataru waved a dismissive hand.
ガキね。ガキなんざめんどくせえだけじゃねえか。すぐどっか行きやがるしビービー泣くしよ。
小太郎、昔から子供嫌いだよね。
俺だけじゃねえぞ。子持ちの嬢がいる店の連中もよくそういうこと言ってるぜ。
俺は二次元にしか興味ないね。
With a dopey grin, Mayu wiggled his lollipop.
言ってろ、オタク。んで、その子供好きの先生様、こんな店に来て何してんだ？
さあ、来てもそわそわしてすぐ帰っちゃうんですよね。店に入っては見るけど長居するほどの勇気はないってところなんじゃないですか。
As they talked, I remembered hearing about child brothels somewhere in the vicinity. Maybe Asakura kept coming to roost by mistake.
この辺りになかったか、そういう店が。
ある。俺も聞いたことあるよ。
トワさんはともかく、まゆさんまでよく知ってますね。
その手の友達がいるからたまに聞くんだよ。
そこ割と本格的かつ慎重なお店らしくて、子供に万が一のことがあった時のために医者が待機してるらしいですよ。
んじゃこっちよりそっち行った方が確実じゃねえか。むしろその待機してる医者ってのが先生様だったりしてな。
その可能性ある。
Mayu let a high-pitched cackle like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. So far, this was all in line with what Taku told me. The checkered past of a doctor beloved by children. What would bring him to roost? It was possible he only came here because he was too afraid to go to the place he was actually looking for.
エイジ、それ調べられないか？
え？
朝倉がその店に出入りしてるかどうか。
あ、はい、いいですけど、気になるんですか？
ちょっとな。
なんだよと。お前が医者に興味持つなんて珍しいじゃねえか。
この店に来る医者だからだよ。
まあどう考えても普通じゃないね。
Maybe if I kept digging, I'd find something interesting. This is gonna get fucked. And as my curiosity grew, I grabbed my glass and downed my drink. So I have things that should not be shown. I will stop the game and make an announcement. I drank at Roost until they closed, then stumbled home to the clinic. Back at my apartment, I switched on the TV, then flopped down on the sofa with my coat still on. I pulled out my phone, checked my notifications, a few missed calls, 2 emails. The missed calls, the one the emails were from, were Ikunai Takashi. In his email, he wrote that as much as he'd love to be at my art model again, he didn't want to be too dependent on me, so he was searching for like-minded people. Every now and then, former models would try to get in touch with me after I granted their wishes. But I never painted the same person twice. Humans are greedy creatures. For some, no amount of satisfaction was ever truly enough. It was like sex or drugs, chasing the same high over and over just to numb your brain. I had no interest in that. What I sought was the precise moment when a dark dream came true for the first time. I wasn't interested in painting the same person over and over. Once was enough. But Akunai seemed to recognize that he couldn't become dependent on me, so I was optimistic he would let go. Either way, I never responded to the follow-up messages. With a small sigh, I closed the email for Akunai and opened another one. Another short poem with nothing else written inside. This was now, what, the 4th time? With each passing day, my twisted desires grow stronger and harder to suppress. Heavenly Father, I beseech you, grant salvation to your lowly servant and permit me to kiss your feet. I beg of you, send me an angel, your divine messenger. Once again, more blind religious zeal. Judging by the way they described themselves as a servant to their Heavenly Father, they were clearly pretty devoted. Then the charity event came to mind. Someone who wanted salvation was better off praying at a church instead of Euphoria's inbox. I tossed my phone under the coffee table and grabbed a blister pack of sleeping pills. I popped 2 in my mouth and washed them down with lukewarm swig from the floor bottle just like always. Then slowly closed my eyes. So that's where we're going to save it. So I'll see you guys next time for more Slow Damage. Let me know what you think of the game and the other games I'm doing on the channel. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Sinfully Pure, and my Twitch under the same name. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye.